Good morning, my YouTube viewers. It's Palestine here. Welcome to my channel. I have another stress-filled morning. I woke up this morning and the stress began. But I'm not making a video about the stressful situation that I found myself in this morning. I will make a video about it at some point, but I'm going to go ahead and carry on and make a video about what I was intending to make a video on. And this is a serious video. And really, I can only do these serious videos like on the weekends. I can't really, when I don't have time during the week, I can't really do it. But I told my boyfriend that, I wanted to go ahead and make a video. So we're getting ready to go to Queen's Arms to get my free breakfast. Because I don't know if you watched my previous video, but I need to have these handouts. And the reason why is just to keep a roof over my head. And that's not including food and clothing and medicine and Microsoft Office and any extras like a bed frame or an air fryer. I have to come up with close to 900 pounds a month just to have a roof over my head. So I have to go to these handouts for that reason. And I find it quite irritating that there's this one man that I made a video about that invites us over for dinner when on the night we have a handout, but he always asks us to bring things. And so he says the dinner's free, but it's not free because he always asks us to bring things to the dinner. So I'm not really keen on going to dinner at this guy's house on a Tuesday or a Saturday morning when we can get a free meal on a Tuesday and a Saturday morning when it genuinely is free and we don't have to bring anything. But I haven't been able to save one penny since 2014 when I was harassed out of my job at Foster Wheeler. So I have to go to handouts. And so basically what I want to talk about is I want to just go ahead and cut to the chase. And yesterday I was watching a video about this lady, Gisele Pelicot. And she's a lady in France. She's a French lady. And basically her husband, he drugged her and put her in a comatose state. And he assaulted her and he invited other men to assault her. And he videoed it. And whenever he videoed it, he put it on his computer. He videoed himself assaulting her. He videoed these people who he met online on this website called Coco assaulting her. And they all lived locally. And so they all would come to the house when she was in a comatose state and assault her. And he videoed it and he put it on his computer. And he got discovered because he went to a supermarket and he was taking pictures underneath women's dresses. And normally they don't get prosecuted for that. But there was a security guard that saw him doing it. So the security guard apprehended him. The security guard went to the three women who he was photographing under their dresses and asked them to press charges. So these three women who he was photographing under the dresses pressed charges. And then his wife, Gisele Pelicot, she said that she would stand by him. She said that, but he had to get counseling and he had to apologize to the women whose dresses he was looking under. And then the police the police decided to get his computer and look at his computer. And when the police got his computer and looked at his computer, they found more than 50 videos or images of Gisele being assaulted by the husband and strangers. And these were all men who lived locally, and he met them all on this website called Coco, and they knew that she was in a comatose state. And so basically the police had to call Gisele into the station, and they had to show her the images, and she confirmed that yes, they were images of her. And then they had to show her pictures of herself being assaulted by strange men that she didn't know. And she said after 3 videos or 3 images, she said she didn't want to see anymore. But the police were able to get more than 50 images off of his computer. So he had been doing this for a long time. And Gisele had, she didn't know anything about it because she was being drugged and she was in a comatose state. And then so she thought she had a good marriage. In addition to Gisele, the daughter also believes that he did something to her, because there was also a picture of the daughter on the computer as well. But he's saying, the husband is saying that he didn't do anything to the daughter. He just did it to the wife. But you never know. The daughter doesn't want anything more to do with him either. So the reason why we know this about this case is because Gisele Pelicot, she waived her right to anonymity, and because she wanted people to know what her husband had done to her. And so that's why it became out in public. And I saw the video on YouTube, and I really like YouTube because I don't have a television. I had to give up my TV license when I was harassed out of my job at Foster Wheeler. So I haven't really been able to watch television unless it's at somebody else's house ever since 2014, when I was harassed out of my job at Foster Wheeler. So yesterday I saw this video, and it made me think about my own personal experience. So I'm going to tell you about my own personal experience. And this video is going to be 2 videos. One video is going to be part 1, and then the second video is going to be part 2. So part 1 is going to be talking about when I was living in Basingstoke. So I was married to a monster. This man was just awful to me. I haven't talked very much about it, but this man was just awful to me. And then so what happened was he was picked up by the police for an offense. I'm not going to say what the offense was because I want to carry on with this video, and I probably wouldn't be able to say the offense for YouTube guidelines, but you can just say it was a sexual offense. And then when he told me what had happened, I didn't handle it very well because I was brought up to believe that people who have sexual problems like that are mentally ill. Even though the UK government tells me I'm mentally ill, I believe that people that do that sort of thing are mentally ill. And so the marriage was pretty much over after that point because I didn't want to forgive him. I didn't want to stand by him. I just wanted the marriage. I just wanted out of the marriage. And the reason why is because he was just awful to me. If he had been a good husband in every other way, except for that one thing, then I may have been able to get over it. But because he was a horrible husband, he was abusive mentally, physically, sexually. He was an abusive man that I just wanted out of the marriage. And so basically, so I had to go around and had problems with the accommodation. So finally, I left. I met this other guy who is mentally ill too, but I had problems with accommodation. And so basically, I had to find a place to live. And so I was living in rented rooms. And rented rooms are not ideal living arrangements because you're having to live with people that you don't know. You don't know anything about these people. And if you're living in a room in somebody's house, well, they're having you there because they need the money. So they really don't want you there. So they're not very nice to you because they really don't want you there. They're just renting the room because they need the money, but they would rather if you weren't there. And then so I ended up at this one place. It was in Basingstoke, and it was close to the town. I sort of remember the name of the street, but I'm not going to say the name of the street. And I had to move in. I had no place to go. I was like, I was desperate. I had no place to go. So I moved in with this guy. I won't say his name. I'll just say his first initial was N. And then what he worked in the construction industry. One point, he had his own construction business, and he had a partner, but he said he lost confidence in his partner. I don't know what happened in that regard, but he decided to wind the business up, and then he was out working construction himself. As time went on, I didn't live with him for that long, maybe 6 or 7 months, or maybe even 8 months. But as time went on, he became very abusive. And one of the things that happened when I was with him was I had just started going out with my Scottish ex-boyfriend. And my Scottish ex-boyfriend went to Scotland for Christmas and left me all alone, all by myself in Basingstoke. So I had to spend Christmas with this guy. And so that was a weird situation. But whenever, as time went on, one thing that the guy was abusive. He had a girlfriend, and then she broke up with him, and then I think they got back together. But he was abusive to me. Like he would put his blankets and things in the bed and under the bed in my room. So that meant that I didn't have any place to store my things. And I only had a small closet. And so I had to get rid of some of my clothes because I didn't have room in the closet for all my clothes. And then, so basically what happened was, this was after Christmas. What happened was, and you always know something's wrong if I sleep the whole night, because I always have to get up to go to the bathroom. That's one thing. But what happened was, I'd have to get up early in the morning to take the train to go to this job I had at Snap-on Tools in Bramley, which was a little village. But, so I would sleep the whole night. So if I sleep the whole night, you know there is something wrong, because I always have to get up and go to the bathroom. So basically, I would sleep the whole night, and then I would wake up, and my nightgown, my nightdress would be hitched all the way up. And I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong here? What's going on here? So my nightdress was hitched all the way up, and I knew I didn't do it. And then another time, I woke up in the morning, again, sleeping the whole night, and my nightdress had been taken off me. And I knew I didn't do it. So I believe, although I don't have any recollection of it, I believe that I had been drugged. And I had been drugged, and this man was coming in my room because I didn't have a lock on my door. This man was coming in my room and pretty much doing what he liked, which included hitching my nightdress up. So he was obviously doing something to my body and taking my nightdress off. So I don't have any recollection of what he was doing, so I believe that he drugged me. Now, this man also was a drug user. I know that he smoked marijuana. I know that he could get any drugs that he wanted. And so I believe that he drugged me and took advantage of me in the middle of the night. And I was working at this place, taking the train into work working with this man, who again was not a nice man. And I probably should have gone to the police and gone to one of those crisis centers and probably been tested to see if anything was inside of me. But I didn't. I just put my clothes on and just got up, put my clothes on, and went to work and tried to carry on. And I tried to speak to my Scottish boyfriend about it, tried to speak to him, tried to tell him what was going on, and he wasn't interested. He just was interested in himself, so he didn't support me. He did actually, because he had a car, and he was living in Farnborough at the time, and he did help me move. So at that point, shortly after this man that I was living with began doing things to me, and I'm just going to assume that it was assault because I didn't agree to it. I found another place to live and I moved out. But this man was very abusive. He was mentally abusive and sexually abusive and verbally abusive towards me. And I didn't stay very long after that time. And I know I never did anything to my night clothes. I never hitched my nightdress all the way up. I never took my nightdress off in the middle of the night. And I had no recollection. So I'm thinking that he could have given me Rohypnol. I think Rohypnol is a drug, is a really serious sleeping tablet. So he could have given me Rohypnol, or he could have given me something else, I don't know. But I do believe that he drugged me. Or basically, he could have used chloroform. He could have snuck in my room in the middle of the night, put chloroform on my face, knocked me out, and did what he wanted. But he definitely did something. I know he was a drug user. I know that he could easily get any drug that he wanted. So I do believe that he drugged me and did whatever he wanted to do to me. I think that it caused a lot of problems in my relationship with my Scottish ex-boyfriend, because my Scottish ex-boyfriend wasn't really supportive of me when I tried to explain to him what was going on. Although he did help me move, but that was the extent of the support that I got from him. So this is just a typical example of what it's like to be a vulnerable person. And so I was speaking to my boyfriend about it this morning, about my Sikh friend, and I told my boyfriend, I said, well, you don't know what it's like. You don't know what it's like to have nobody. And so if you've never had nobody, if you've ever just been trying to stay alive, just stay alive, and you have people exploiting you because you're a vulnerable person, you've got nobody, and you're just trying to stay alive, then you're not going to understand what it's like to have nobody, to be vulnerable and just trying to stay alive. But I wanted to make this video because this happened in the late 1990s. This happened in the late 1990s, where I had problems with accommodation, and I was having to live in rented rooms, and I wasn't being treated well by the people whose rooms I was renting. And that's one of the reasons why I stay where I stay in this tiny little apartment, because I'm not having to live with other people. I'm not having to be assaulted for the most part, but the video that I'm going to make tomorrow is going to cover some things that happen in this very apartment as well. And that's why I wanted to split this video up in two parts. So part one is what happened when I was living in Basingstoke, and part two is going to be what happened where I'm living now. So since I've told you my story of where I believe that I was drugged and assaulted, just so you'll know some of the really horrible experiences that I've had. So whenever I say thank you for taking an interest in my pathetic life, you will understand why it is truly a pathetic life. So thank you so much for watching my video, and I will be making the next video for you tomorrow to talk about part two of my feelings about the Gisele Pelicot case. So thank you for watching.